Okay, so now we'll talk about the death camps of the Holocaust that Hitler's fanatical world became a major part of. He had a vast amount of death camps and concentration camps built throughout Europe, um, beginning in the late 30s and all the way through World War II. Now, we've seen pictures like this before, the massive Nazi empire uh, that had spread throughout Europe. And, and then with Italy as the ally of Hitler, he took over Southern Europe. So here you see how he consolidated his power by having death camps built throughout um, uh, these many different countries. So especially in Eastern Europe, especially in Poland, some in Germany, he had the most death camps he had built were in Poland. Here's a map of some of the concentration camps and some of the death camps. You see Treblinka, Chelmo over in Poland, Sobibor, Auschwitz down a little bit in southern Poland. In Germany itself, you have Buchenwald. In southern Germany, Dachau. So even before the camps, he had killed many by bullets, and this is something that is not covered normally when the Holocaust is talked of. But literally over a million were killed by bullets, even before the death camps, and it's called the Holocaust by bullets. At least a million Jews died this way, and hundreds of thousands, or in the millions even, of other people were killed. Um, Civilians were killed by bullets. The Holocaust by bullets. And there's tons of pictures and evidence and records discussing this part of the Holocaust. But the death camps, like you saw in some of the maps, one is the Belsen concentration camp, which is actually uh, where Anne Frank died after she was captured and sent there, and was liberated by the British in 1945. Another shot of prisoners there, and then you have Anne Frank's tombstone here. You have Buchenwald, which was actually built in 1937 in Germany. Jews were kept there, but also Slavic people um, from Czechoslovakia and in other areas. Uh, Gypsies, known as Romas, were also on the death list. Were kept there. Many mentally ill and physically disabled were sent there, as Hitler's plan was to. His way of dealing with disabled people was by having them killed, as well as mentally ill, either sterilized or killed in camps. Homosexuals were sent there to die. Jehovah's Witnesses, any kind of political opponent, um, and a number of prisoners of war. So, unfortunately, these people were either worked to death, executed. Many were killed with poison gas and shot, and those who were healthy enough to work just basically starved to death. This camp, um, right, a shot at Buchenwald. But this camp was liberated by the Russians near the end of World War II. Dachau. Dachau was also in Germany. Priests were kept there, um, as well as Jews, political prisoners. In this camp, a number of Christians and Catholics were killed. And in most camps, just even having a Bible was a death offense, as Hitler was an atheist. Publicly to the Germans, he pretended to support Christianity, but privately he was an atheist and considered anyone reading the Bible was a danger. So frequently, if guards caught any prisoner with a Bible, they would be shot. Um, but also, both Protestants and Catholics were killed at this camp. Um, so Dachau was liberated by the Americans. Another shot of Dachau. Um, American soldiers arriving at the camp, and really, American soldiers did not expect these kind of scenes that they saw when they arrived at a few of these camps, including Dachau. Um, the healthier ones were able to, greet them, but the American soldiers saw quite a few dead bodies laying around and stacked, and as a result, some of the soldiers just shot the guards, which was a breaking of military rules, and some of them were even threatened with court-martial over this. But in some ways, it's understandable when you're seeing dead bodies. Um, but yeah, so the Americans liberated this camp, um, and these were some of the healthy, the ones that survived, were liberated, and quite joyous. Though some of them still died, like unable to deal with like just sudden rations of food. Some of them still died later, but there were a number who managed to survive at the liberation of Dachau. The most famous of the death camps is Auschwitz, um, which well over 1 million were killed here. Um, Majority Jews in the gas chambers of Auschwitz. This would appear of recent arrivals at Auschwitz. You see children, but unfortunately, mostly older people. The old and the young were some of the first to be executed because they were not of any help to the Nazi as far as working goes. This shot of shoes is very close to a shot in your textbook on the Holocaust essay. Just the sheer amount of shoes is kind of a shocking thing and a way to show an image of those who perished. This is a Catholic priest who died at Auschwitz. He actually volunteered to replace a Jew who was going to be executed for something, and Colby volunteered to die in his place, and Colby died a very an awful death in his place. Another shot of Colby as a prisoner before his death. So, one of the little-known facts of the camps was a form of resistance by the Jews in the camp, and it was a cultural resistance. They They created art which was forbidden. They hid this art in the walls of the camp, and it was later found after Auschwitz was liberated by the Russians. So quite a bit of art. In some other camps, the art was found also. Here's a chilling scene of Jewish prisoners in a train, uh, and this is the artist's memory of it. Another artwork by a prisoner. Um, yeah, so this art was a form of resistance. This one was found in one of the walls, and because it was forbidden and it was an artistic expression by the Jewish inmates at Auschwitz, and they could have secret marriages and secret um, religious ceremonies, all kinds of cultural resistance to the Nazis. But this artwork is still around today and shown in museums. Um, and then you also had a physical resistance, like you see here. One crematory was blown up by Jewish workers. Um, and then, of course, there was the Warsaw Uprising. So this last slide shows the bizarre color coding that the Nazis used on prisoners and on inmates of these death camps and concentration camps. You can see Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a symbol for, all color coded, gay males, Roma, which is also known as gypsies, from a certain area of Romania, foreign immigrants who were forced workers who were shipped in from countries to work as slave labor. Um, and and of course, Jews would be gold or yellow. So that was a bizarre type of color coding of the Nazi camps and death camps. So we saw a number of the different Nazi camps, death camps, and we listed Bergen-Belsen, Buchenwald, Auschwitz, Dachau as an example of the Nazi camps.